We're going to go over some of Group B's homework to sort of get you guys started on this. I'm going to do a couple of the problems that you have to do so that you can work along with me and check what you thought you knew how to do and just write down any questions you have. This is a tough sheet. It's going to take some work. It's going to be kind of difficult for you. It's fine if it's wrong. Just do the best you can. Try to get it right. Try to get as right as you can. And then if you have any questions, jot them down, get to class, talk to me about them so that I can help you out. That's one of the reasons we're making these videos, so that you can get your questions, get them really set, and then when we get to class, we'll talk. So let's look at this. This is problem 10. And from the sheet that is attached and then I gave you for homework, you had to do 9 through the end, but just the evens. So we know from our integer rules that we don't subtract anymore. So since this is subtracting, we know anytime it says subtract, we actually set it up as a problem where we add the opposite and use our addition rules. So that's what I'm going to do here. Since it's subtraction, I'm going to change it to addition. The opposite of negative 5/3 is positive 5/3, so I'm going to change it to that. Now we'll just use our addition rules. We have 1/3 plus 5/3 equals 6/3. And since there's a common factor of 3, we have to simplify. We have to divide out that 3. 3 goes into both 6 and 3. That's the reason we have to do this. 3 divided by itself is 1. 6 divided by 3 is 2. And 2 over 1, we know 2 divided by 1 is actually just the whole number 2. So we'll just put it at that. And I'm going kind of fast because I think a lot of the people in this group are pretty good with this, with some parts of it. Especially down here. Most of you probably are pretty good with this. But also, you can sort of rewind the video, so I would encourage you to do that. If you get lost and you're like, what did he just do? Rewind the video, watch it again, and if you still don't understand it after you've sort of watched through it, write it down that you're going to ask about that, and then I'll talk with you about it. But me going a little faster, what it does is it lets the people who do get it the first time, they don't have to wait around. That's the reason I don't go too slow during the videos, because you can always rewind. All right, let's do another couple of problems. Let's do number 12. 12 says negative 10/7 plus 1/6. If you notice, this is already addition. So unlike this one...
I need to see the following students at the student window, please. KDE.
All right, sorry about that. Unlike this one, we don't have to change anything. This was subtraction, so we added the opposite. Here, it's already addition. There's a plus sign between them. We don't mess with it. We just look, are they the same or different? Well, they're different. This one's negative. That one's positive. So what we're actually going to do is subtract them anytime they're different. Remember, same sign, add and keep, different sign, subtract. So let's find a common denominator. I want to make sure we understand something here. You know you got to take the sign of the bigger number. So a lot of you can look and say, oh, 10/7 is actually, the 10's bigger than 7. That means it has a whole number. So you know that this is bigger. And you would know to put negative. And by bigger, we always mean bigger absolute value. Let's say you don't know that. Watch what happens once I find this common denominator. The common denominator is 42. You'll really be able to see it once you hit this point. 7 times 6 is 42, so we're going to multiply by 6. 6 times 7, so we're going to multiply by 7 down there. 10 times 6 is 60. 7 times 1 is 7, so these are our two new fractions. At this point, you can clearly see that 60 over 42 is much bigger than 7 over 42, so you can see that this is bigger. So if you couldn't see it here, once you find the common denominators, it's pretty easy to compare the fractions. You can just tell. So we know it's going to be a negative answer. And now we said they're different, so we subtract. 60 minus 7 is 53. Denominator stays at 42. And all your life you've been told probably that you don't want to leave fractions improper. And sometimes that's true. There are a lot of times when you want to go ahead and divide 53 divided by 42 and get the whole number out. And we will do that some. For now, just know that it's actually fine to leave an answer not converted. When you get to next year and you're starting to do slope, you're going to learn that actually this is preferred. And if you're ever doing ratios, we prefer it to be improper. We don't like it to be a mixed number. So sometimes we're just going to leave it like this. What you always have to do is get rid of common factors, like we did up here. 3 went into both, so we had to divide. You don't always have to convert it to a mixed number. It just depends on what the kind of problem is and what it says and what it's asking you to do. So for today, if you just want to leave them all improper, just leave them that way, and I won't have any problem with that. So we have 53 over 42, and it's negative, and that should be your answer. Let me get one more problem. We'll do 18. So we have negative 3 and 3/5. I think it's minus 4 and 2/5. That. I believe that's 18. So just like we did with subtraction, we always do with subtraction, we add the opposite, so we change that to adding. Opposite of positive 4 and 2/5 is negative, so that's our first move. Now we're going to say 3/5. And since they're the same sign, we add and keep. So I'm going to go ahead and put it a negative so I don't forget. Sometimes if we put the sign first, we'll remember to do it and not forget as much. 4 and 2/5. This is pretty easy because the denominator is already there. It's 5. So we're just going to keep our same denominator. That's 5. I'll go ahead and put it under here as well. 3 plus 2 is also 5. 4 plus 3 is 7. So we have negative 7 and 5/5. Now once you see if it's the same number on top and bottom, a lot of you guys have already learned this, but just in case, 5 divided by 5, or 5 over 5 equals 1. Anything divided by itself is 1. So if you ever have a fraction with the same number on top and bottom, you know that's 1. So if I have 7 holes here, 1 hole there, all together, I have negative 8. And that would be the simplest form. Anytime, when I said leave it improper is fine, that would not apply to this, because anytime you have the same number top and bottom, you definitely want to make that just a 1, which we add to the 7 and get negative 8. And that would be number 18, negative 8. So if you have any questions that you need answered tonight, email me. I know this is a tough sheet. I'll try to get back to you and help you out. Otherwise, write them down if you think you can sort of work around them. Just do your best. Refer to your integer chart that you made as homework that one time to sort of, if you need to, remember the exact rules. And you're going to add or subtract on every one of these. You just have to figure out which of those operations you're going to do.